The Louie T Network is powered by MusicHead University. MusicHeads, classes in session. Turn me up. Enroll on YouTube now. Link is in the description.
Who else could it be but me, your man, Louie T? Welcome to the command post. You know what it is. Post up. Take command. I, of course, am your commander-in-chief, Louie T. Thank you for joining me. Bam Adebayo, 83 points. Second most in NBA history behind Wilt's historic 100-point game, breaking Kobe Bryant's 81-point game record. It was nasty. All right. Didn't shoot 50% from the field, shot less than 30%, I think less than 33% from deep. Shot 43 free throws. It wasn't a pretty 83-point game, but 83 points is 83 points. What more can I say? Lot going on. So where do we begin? I think we start tonight's show with some non-Commanders news. This was sort of a bombshell that we got earlier in the evening, which was mind-blowing. I mean, this is not the first time we've seen a trade rescinded in NFL history, so I don't want to, make the biggest deal out of it, but this is pretty significant. I mean, we thought that this was a done deal. It happened. The Cowboys not getting him, and luckily enough for us that everything took place the way that it did, how it did. Cowboys moved on from, being able to get Max Crosby, spent a bunch of money, traded for Rashawn Gary, and they moved on. And so they're not in a position to try to still go after Max Crosby, but yikes. This tweet came out from the Raiders. It was just a plain Jane tweet that they put out, basically saying the Baltimore Ravens have backed out of our trade agreement for Max Crosby. We will have no further comment at this time. I quickly reached out to my Raiders buddy to see how he felt, and I was breaking news for him. And he said, sometimes I hate being a Raiders fan. This sucks. I mean, I was like, hey, you guys could just keep him. I mean, Quiddy pay his ass. I mean, he hasn't signed anything yet. You could just tell Quiddy Pay to kick rocks. You've signed a lot of good players and just let Max rock with y'all. But they spent the Max Crosby money already. The money that they were saving by trading him, getting him off the books, they pretty much have spent that money. So they really need somebody to come take Max off their hands. It would be nice, because they didn't anticipate him being on the books when they started to make all of these moves. So it's kind of like they need him out of there now. But at the same time, nobody signed anything. So technically, you could renege on a few of these deals if you needed to. But it's a weird situation. Be careful out there, guys. My wife stumbled upon something, and she was telling me that somebody was saying, oh, they found traces of Fenty in his system. And I'm like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Because, Max had some issues with drugs once upon a time. So it's not a stretch. I'm like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Easy, easy, easy. This is a failed physical as far as we know. Huh? All right. So he had a meniscus injury, had surgery on it. It may not look proper to the Ravens, and so they backed out. We're not going to go with anything else other than that, okay? His agent just put out a statement not too long ago. It basically said something to the effect of, and I think, let me see if I can track it down. And let's see. It basically said, see if I can track that down. It should be in here. If not, I can just go to Schefter's page, and it'll be there. I mean, this is still unbelievable. It's kind of hard to wrap your brain around that this happened. Adam Schefter. So his agent, MAXX, continues to be on track in his recovery, and if anything, is ahead of schedule according to his surgeon, Dr. Neil. He says MAXX remains on track to return during the offseason program and will undoubtedly return as the dominant game wrecker he has been these past 7 seasons. So I don't know what they saw that spooked them in that manner, but they decided that he's not worth 2 first-round picks at this point. Raiders are still entertaining offers. Remember, the Cowboys had a 1 and a 2 on the table. They've, since moved on because they just gave up a 4 for Rashawn Gary. So they're not really in a position to be giving up more draft picks after having already given up a 4 and, having to eat that Rashawn Gary money. I think he's getting like 21 and 18 in the next 2 seasons, respectively. See, I think it's 21 and then 18 in the next 2 years, respectively. So I don't think they're in a position to take on more money from MAXX. So that's a really interesting situation. You know what is really interesting now, too, thinking about it, is we've seen some teams, not do anything with Trey Hendrickson quite yet, kind of waiting to see how everything was going to play out. Trying to see, because Trey Hendrickson, we heard that tomorrow rather, he's going to make a decision. He's supposed to make a decision on where his next home is going to be. Maybe this alters that now. Maybe teams are like, hold on, before we do anything with Trey Hendrickson, let's just see what the Raiders are talking about with MAXX. So that's a really interesting situation. Has nothing to do with us because we're not in a position to trade for him. But we might still be in the edge rusher market. We'll talk about that here in a second. But the big news for the Commanders, Adam Peters strikes again. Adam Peters, very quiet day, really around the league and not just in Washington. A lot of quiet teams that were very active in day one. Commanders kind of fit that bill, very active in day one. Didn't do much in day number 2 of the tampering period. Commanders did strike, and this was a big one. On my list of linebackers, Leo Chenal was, and I got to get the proper pronunciation of his name. I've been calling him Chenal. I think it's Chanel. We're going to go with Chenal for now, and I'm going to find out how exactly you say his name so we can get his name right. He's a family member now, so we got to make sure we're getting his name correct. But he was my 3rd linebacker available in free agency, really 2nd, because I told you I'm not the biggest Devin Lloyd fan. I had him behind Quay Walker. So, and at 25.2 years of age, so he's probably 25.3 years of age now, he was one of the youngest backers available in free agency. This is beautiful. When you talk about getting younger, faster, more athletic, I talked about the importance of linebacker and safety in this defense. I said you can skim, right? You can be cheap. You can be frugal at corner in this defense. You have to get a leader at linebacker and a guy that can be a difference maker there and a smart player, and you have to have a safety in this defense. These are the 2 components that are non-negotiables, and you need guys up front that can be havoc wreakers as well, which they're trying to put together. So this happened about roughly an hour after I got off my stream earlier. This from Jordan Schultz. Sources, former Chiefs linebacker Leo Chenal is signing with the Commanders for 3 years, $24.75 million, so roughly $25 million. So just a shade over $8 million per year. Don't know the exact specifics of the guarantees in this deal, but I would say it's probably somewhere in that 15, 16, maybe even like 16 point something million range, $16.25 million guaranteed or something like that. Because what we've seen from Adam Peters now, if nothing else, you kind of know his style after seeing him negotiate and deal for the last 3 years, is that third year is going to be a year that has no guarantees in it. They're going to give you all of your guaranteed money in the first 2 years, especially of these 3-year deals, like Javon Kinlaw's 3-year, $45 million deal, 30 of it guaranteed. The third year, there's no guaranteed money. We've seen that trick, done so many times already with Adam Peters in his short tenure here in Washington, and this feels like another one of those types of deals. This is really good money. This is a really good deal for a really good linebacker. Really excited about what Leo Chenal brings to the table. And when you talk about a player that will fit this defense like hand in glove, you're talking about a guy like Leo Chenal, athletically gifted, can blitz, is a sideline to sideline guy. We talked about getting faster on defense. You just did that by adding Leo Chenal to this defense. You're talking about a low 4.5 40 guy. You're talking about a guy that has been one of the linchpins of that Chiefs defense over the last couple of years. Is a 2-time Super Bowl winning champion. So he brings that Super Bowl winning pedigree to Washington. The more guys that you have in your locker room that have tasted that type of success, that knows what it takes. I can't stress to you how big Bobby Wagner was for us in that 2024 season when things started to go downhill, and Bobby Wagner instilled that confidence in the team that we're a good football team and we're going to turn this around. He made that statement before the Tennessee game. We didn't lose another game in the regular season, went on to win 2 playoff games and got to the NFC Championship game. And a lot of that started with that Bobby Wagner speech, because he knew what it took to get to the mountaintop. You need guys like that in your locker room. And Chenal comes in as a leader, as an athlete, as a tough, physical, athletic linebacker, exactly what we need. And I talked about us adding a veteran to this young group of linebackers. I was thinking a little bit more seasoned, so I was not spot on about the kind of veteran. I was talking about Eric Wilson. He's like 32 years old, roughly. I was thinking about somebody like that, somebody like 28, 29, 30, like that. Adding a guy like Chenal is awesome because he fits the timeline that we're currently in at 25 years old. Basically, he is right there with the Jaden Daniels of the world and some of the other young guys that we've, either drafted here recently or, are in that time frame of what we're looking to do. So this is exciting. This is a really exciting signing. And for all the flack that Adam Peters has gotten from the fan base, which I think has been largely unwarranted, he continues to make really good, high-quality signings. We're not just out here signing guys just for the sake of signing guys, just to say we got on the board, just to say we did something, right? They have to fit, and they have to be the type of player that can change games, right? This is a guy that picked off a pass this year, forced 3 fumbles last season, 2 seasons ago in 2024. This is a guy that has 7 career sacks. This is a guy that can blitz. This is a guy that can go sideline to sideline with his speed and range. This is a guy that can drop into coverage if need be. This is a guy that comes in and upgrades a linebacker position that was as slow as a snail last year. Now you pair him up with Jordan McGee, hopefully, and you could be talking about one of the more athletically gifted linebacking groups in football next season with those 2 on the field in particular. And who knows what they continue to look to do. I don't think this rules out a Sonny Styles being drafted, but now you don't have to draft. If it becomes a Sonny Styles versus a Jeremiah Love conversation, I think it's a no-brainer now. You can take Jeremiah Love and feel confident about that. If it becomes if it's a Sonny Styles versus someone else, you can still take Sonny Styles and put him right next to Leo Chenal and let's go ball, right? So all this does is it gives you more options. It bolsters this defense. They continue to add pieces defensively. I saw the funniest tweet. The Commanders fan base been crashing out. It's been hilarious. Somebody in the comment section of that tweet that I showed you from Jordan Schultz said, "Thank you for this tweet. You single-handedly just stopped Commanders fans from eating one another." Hey, y'all was some savages, man. Y'all have been some savages these last 2 days, man. Patience is a virtue. That's what a wise woman once told me. Patience is a virtue. I don't always subscribe to think good things come to those who wait. I don't always subscribe to that. That's not always the best methodology and the best way to go about business, but you want to make sure, again, free agency is not the place to be hasty. That's how you do the Carolina Panthers deal with Jalen Phillips. That's how you get a Tyler Linderbaum deal with the Raiders. I'm not looking to be first. I'm not looking to be hasty. I'm looking to be right. I want the numbers to make sense. I want the fit to make sense. I want the player to be really good. And I want all of those things to come together. What we've done in the past, what I've watched with my own 2 eyes, and a lot of you have as well, is this team go out and just spend frivolously because of what guys have done in the past, not for what they're going to do in the future. And it's blown up right in our faces. One of the worst free agent signings in NFL history belongs to this organization with Albert Haynesworth. I don't have to worry about those type of things repeating itself with this group, but need I remind you that it's not hard to make a mistake in free agency, and they are costly. So to see them go out and do what they've done each of the first 2 days of this tampering period and come back with a defensive stud, right? 2-3, if you ask me, because I'm a big Amik Robertson fan as well. They've improved this defense, and they're not done. Speaking of not being done, this is from Jeremy Fowler, who right after the Leo Chenal news hit said the following on X: "The Commanders are still combing the pass rusher market, agreeing to terms with Adafi Owe, 4 years, $100 million. One name that keeps coming up often for them in league circles, K'Lavon Chaisson." That was a guy that I talked about earlier today as a guy that I was shocked that he hadn't been signed already. This is a former first-round pick, is K'Lavon Chaisson, who took a little while, came into the league extremely young, probably should have stayed in college another year. Dudes don't do that, or weren't doing it back then. That was before NIL. But probably should have stayed in college another year, got more seasoning, came out a little bit early, prematurely, wasn't ready. It showed. Jacksonville discarded him, went to Vegas, started to figure it out, got 5 sacks that year, turned around, had a really good season. I think it was a 6.5 or 7.5 last year. Let's see, K'Lavon Chaisson, I think it was 6. I think it was 7.5, but let me just, 7.5 sacks last year for the Patriots. So his last year in Jacksonville, he had 2 sacks. He leaves there after his rookie contract runs out. They don't pick up the 5th-year option because they were disappointed in him. He goes to Vegas, gets 5 sacks. So you see he's starting to figure it out. And then last year he goes to New England and he's got 7.5 sacks. So again, another ascending player. The arrow is pointing this way. He's young. He's 26 years old. This is the type of guy you want to bring in if you're Washington. We need all the help we can get. I still think we can add another pass rusher. I think they're trying to get the number just right for him. But that's another guy that would be really intriguing if they could get him in here. I know you guys saw Reek Woolen signed with the Philadelphia Eagles on a 1-year, $15 million deal. I think that speaks to the market for him. Anytime you see a guy cop to a 1-year deal, it shows that he thought his market was one thing and the league suggested and spoke that it was something else. We saw the same thing with Nahshon Wright. He thought his market was going to be this robust market that was going to get him a multi-year deal. And the league said, bro, you just did that one time, man. Yeah, I'm good. 1.5, yeah, it was $5.5 million in New York for Nashawn Wright, and 1 year, $15 million for Rick Woolen. It means he's got to prove it to the Eagles. He's got to prove it to the rest of the league. He's a guy that too many lapses in concentration. You know, he ain't paying attention. Guy runs right by him, catches a touchdown. I've seen that at least 2 or 3 times this year. And again, I ain't going to shit on him because I wanted him here in Washington. I still think he's a damn good football player. And opposite of Quinyon Mitchell, they could make one hell of a tandem in Philadelphia. But clearly the rest of the league didn't feel as high on Rick Woolen as we probably did. And I know for a fact that if they wanted him here in Washington, they could have had him. At $15 million, if they wanted him, they could have had him. And they didn't feel the need to spend that kind of money at corner. They're going to add another corner, but it's not going to be a premium. We already know that for a fact. That window has shut. They are going to add, they have to add another corner. We only have 3 under contract. So they're going to add another corner, but it's going to be like a Jonathan Jones type. And it's not necessarily going to be him, but it's going to be that type of guy, right? A veteran, been in the league. Like, I wouldn't be shocked. Like, I hope they don't do this shit. But like a Fabian Moreau, like, I wouldn't be shocked. A lot of you said, hey, what about Fab? No, I don't want Fab here. They might ultimately do some shit like that. So I hope not. You could do better than Fab, right? But like, that's the kind of move that they may make. They may draft another corner and they may add one more in free agency. And, you know, we'll see. And don't forget, they got some guys that they are developing that were on the practice squad that is going to be a part of the 90-man roster. So don't count those guys out either. But, you know, we'll see what they decide to do at the cornerback position. But this is a big move, getting Leo Chenal for a 3-year, $24.75 million deal. And they may not be done with the edge rushing position. I don't think they're done. Adding guys, tight end, still think they're going to add Rashad White at running back. Still think they need to add another receiver in addition to Brandon Ayuk, which I think is going to happen here shortly because the 49ers are going to have to finally part ways with him as the start of the new league year happens tomorrow. And you're going to start to see a lot of these teams that were holding on to guys, hoping they could get a last-second trade with somebody, having to go ahead and cut bait. Everybody's got to be cap compliant by tomorrow. So, you know, all these guys that you're hanging on to, that you don't want to pay money to, that you don't want them counting against your cap, that's going to help you clear the cap to get to under $301 million, $301.2 million. Going to have to get rid of these guys. That's going to happen tomorrow before 4 o'clock because that's when the new league year starts. So you're going to see a lot of movement. You're going to see a lot more activity tomorrow. And I think the Commanders are going to be a part of that as well. So big move. Leo Chenal in the fold. I think he gives us that quarterback of the defense that we were looking for. I didn't want to rely on Jordan McGee. I still think he's got a chance to be really good, but I didn't want to rely on Jordan McGee. He hasn't been able to stay healthy. I don't think health was as big of an issue this past year in 2025 as it was in 2024, his rookie season. But I haven't seen enough of Jordan McGee to feel confident that he could quarterback this defense. I've seen plenty of Leo Chenal to know that he can come in here and be the defensive ace for this defense and be the guy that gets everyone lined up, wear the green dot, and, you know, just be one of these defensive menaces defensively for us. I think we've gotten our defensive leader and captain of the defense here in Leo Chenal, and now you just continue to build. Continue to build. You got Adafi Owe, you've got Deron Payne, you've got Javon Kinlaw. If you can add another guy on the opposite end, you still have Dietrich Wise. You've got some depth. You know, we don't know what is going to become of Drake Jackson, but if Drizzy Drake can get back to his second-round form, you got tremendous depth. I think you can still add a guy like Jacob Martin back into the fold. We'll see. That's not something that you have to rush to do, but we'll see if they decide to bring him back. He was really good for us last year. I still feel like you need to bring him back. Because if I had it my way, Javonte John Baptiste is on the outside looking in. Like he does not have to be a part of this mix. He can come to camp, he can compete, but I want to add as many, live, young, healthy bodies. Javonte hasn't been healthy in any of his first 2 seasons here. And when he has been healthy, it's been solid to below average. He's a 7th round pick. I'm not looking for a ton out of a 7th round pick to begin with. And I'm not banking on getting a completely healthy, Dorrance Armstrong back from injury. So load up on edge rushers if you can. They've already loaded up on defensive tackles. The defensive tackle position is as good as it's been here in quite some time in terms of its depth, top to bottom. It's a really strong group at defensive tackle with the addition of Tim Settle. You add in a guy like Kayvon Chason, and all of a sudden this defensive front is very problematic. With Owe on one side, you can move around pieces like Dietrich Wise, throw out Kayvon Chason, again, Deron Payne, Johnny Newton, Tim Settle, Javon Kinlaw. It starts to get really interesting up front with the different combinations you can put on the field. And now we have speed behind them. Leo Chenal, Jordan McGee, you have legitimate speed behind them now. So it's exciting, but we're not done. More has to be done, and I expect it to be. So let's get to the comment section quickly. See what you guys have to say. And we'll get out of here. Icy Wayne, thank you for being a member. Oh, stand up. You are the newest member of the MOBB. Icy Wayne, welcome to the squad. Glad to have you on board. Shadow Striker 789. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. Shadow Striker 789, right? Someone check on Ed. Bam Adebayo just dropped 83 points on the Wizards. Second most ever in a game. Wow. Trust me. Ed doesn't need to be checked up on. Ed cashed in on this one. Ed bet the over on Bam 25 points. And that hit in the first quarter. He had 31 points in the first quarter. So I was texting Ed, 31 in the first quarter. Really, bro? And then he sent me a screenshot of his bet. And all I can do was smile because Ed always bets on guys that are playing against the Wizards. And he does not miss. So Ed is doing just fine. Trust me. Ed is doing just fine. Terry Maples, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, I said Chenal in the stream earlier, Dallas out on MAXX. The first thing I thought of was, is Dallas going to have a shot at getting him now? Even though they've made all of these moves, even though they traded for, what's your boy name that was opposite of Michael Parsons in Green Bay? Excuse me. Shucks. I don't know why I'm blanking on his name. It'll come to me. But I was like, even though they traded for him, Rashawn Gary, even though they traded for Rashawn Gary, could they still possibly be in? And the first reports initially were like, Dallas is still in. And I'm like, oh, shit. Hopefully we didn't put our foots in our mouth because we sure did celebrate. But they're out. They've done too much now to be able to still be in on Maxx Crosby. So good. I don't give a shit where he ends up as long as it's not in our division. Preferably, I'd like him to stay out of our conference if at all possible. Like, this could open the door for Philadelphia to sneak back in there and go get him. I bet you they were interested the first time. I know a lot of teams are like, well, shit, we'll take him. We'll check the physicals, but we'll take him. As far as you saying Chenal in the stream earlier, you did. You made a list and he was a part of it. I like it. And I told you, I liked your list. I liked it a lot, but still a lot of work to do. Still a lot of work to do. So That's one down, Terry. Hopefully, we got 2 more to go. Lion Ace, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Lion Ace writes, Simo. Adam is about to back up the Brinks truck to sign our MVP Big Simo. Hashtag in Louie Trust. Hey, don't be speaking that kind of blasphemy on my channel, man. Keep that nonsense and that nastiness away from me, okay? Keep that nastiness away from me. Huh. Okay? I want no parts of that. Maryland Maid YP. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, what do we do now at wide receiver? Trade back and draft one? I don't think so. I still believe the stick and pick model is in full effect. I don't think you look to move out of 7. I think you look to draft the best player available. Again, I think the board is going to determine what is done, right? I think the board is going to speak to you, and if you can get out, you get out. If you don't love any of the players that are there at 7, you can get out. But I suspect that when the Commanders are up on the board at 7, there's going to be a guy that they love there. Because again, if you're sitting there at 7, you make a list of 7 guys, one of the 7 is going to be there. You only have to make a list of 6 guys if you're the Commanders, because you already know one of the picks is going to be Fernando Mendoza. So you don't have to make a list of 7. You just got to make a list of 6 guys, and one of those 6 are going to be there. So if you think those 6 players have a chance to be blue chippers, then you shouldn't be trading out of the pick. Wide receiver, Brandon Ayuk is going to be signed here, and I think you add some sort of speed. Tutu Atwell, De'Ami Brown, someone of that ilk. There are a number of receivers that can run, still out there, still available. No, I doubt you bring in a Tyreek Hill, but no, that's another guy that can run, stretch the football field. So, receiver in terms of just straight speed merchants. They had a chance to get one. They let him go back to Kansas City. And again, no telling if he ever wanted to leave Kansas City and Tyquan Thornton. But, you know, again, Tutu Atwell can double. And it's the kind of great value version of Rashid Shaheed. He can double as a return man. If I'm not mistaken, I don't know if Tutu Atwell's been an all-pro as a return man. I think he has been. He might not have been, but he's got that kind of capability. Put him on kickoffs, and you can throw the ball to him deep. He can be a gadget guy too. And because he was not successful on that same De'Ami Brown package last year, that 1 for $10 million that he got from the Rams, I think his number might be considerably lower. I wanted Tutu Atwell last year, and I would love to add Tutu Atwell this year. So if you want speed, that's a guy that can offer it to you. They may decide to go in a different direction, but right now, Brandon Ayuk +1 is what they're going to do at receiver. That's what it feels like. You know, I could be wrong about Jawan Jennings, but he may have overestimated his market too. You know what I mean? He's still out there. And here's the thing. We haven't heard a peep out of a Jawan Jennings market. His name hasn't come up at all. So we'll see what happens with him and with some of these other names of guys that are, you know, Trey Hendrickson and some of these other guys that are big-time free agents that we haven't heard a peep out of them quite yet. Hendrickson already said he's going to make a decision soon. He's got a bunch of offers, so we'll see what he does. Jawan Jennings is another name to keep an eye on here for the Commanders. If you can't get Ayuk for some reason, which I highly doubt, Jawan Jennings would be the guy. And then you could add another receiver with speed. But Ayuk feels like he's destined for Washington. So at that point, you could then look to try to add some speed. William Rogers. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you, William Rogers Jr. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, Jeremy Fowler has tweeted the Commanders still have interest in Kayvon Chaisson. If that happens, draft strategy will definitely be different. It could be. It doesn't have to be. So if you, because what it feels like, the Kayvon Chaisson could easily be a 1-year deal. Like that doesn't have to be a 3-year deal like most of the deals that we've seen Adam Peters or try to, engage in. The Tim Settle deal was 3 years. The Leo Chenal deal was 3 years. The Adafiowe deal was 4 years. He's going with longer deals here. Kayvon could be a 1-year prove it type deal again. So I don't think it would change the draft strategy necessarily, even if you signed him to a multi-year deal. Let's say it's a 3-year deal for 20, that same 3 years, $24 million that we just gave Leo Chenal, he gives to Kayvon Chaisson, and they get him to sign for that. You could still draft an edge rusher if one were to fall to you. You don't have to deviate from that. The more the merrier. You'll never find a team that is disappointed or upset at having too many edge rushers. That's never a thing. See the Giants, right? Like nobody's going to complain about having a ton of edge rushers. So could it change their plans? Sure. Absolutely. Does it have to? Is that mandatory? No, it's not. First of all, none of us believe that the elite edge rushers are falling to Washington anyway. So again, edge rusher isn't one of the positions we think is going to be available to us, because Arvell Reese and David Bailey are going to be gone. We're not in Cash's Howell territory. Speaking of Howell, did you see the train on Sam Howell in the NFC East continues? They're running a G on him. Started with the Commanders, went to the Eagles. Now he's a Cowboy. Did you see that? So he's just got one more team to hit, and he would have completed the entire train of the NFC East. Let's pull one out for old Sammy Howell. One good time.
New Howell order.
Man, what could have been? What could have been? Anyway, so while I see the logic that you're going with about the draft strategy being different, I also don't think that that necessarily has to be the case. Doesn't have to necessarily be the case. So, because to me, edge rusher was never going to be something we were going to draft, right? Not at 7. We've been talking about Sonny Styles, Jeremiah Love, and Ruben Bain. Ruben Bain, technically an edge. Technically an edge. But what is he in the NFL? He's got to play on the edge, you would assume, at 265, 70 pounds, wherever he is. But that would be, I guess, technically that's an edge rusher. But drafting him or signing Kayvon Chaisson, if they were to do that, and there's no guarantees that they do that, would put you in a position where you don't feel compelled to do that if it's Ruben Bain and Jeremiah Love, or Ruben Bain and Sonny Styles. You don't feel compelled to have to take the edge rusher because we need that more, right? Just gives you more options. That's what you want to go into the draft having. Unlimited options, not feeling pressured or forced into having to do anything. Truly taking BPA into consideration, because to me, no matter who is up against Jeremiah Love, he's better than them in this draft. And I haven't even watched these guys. Daniel Jeremiah has Jeremiah Love is his number 2 player in this entire draft. And I bet you when I finish watching the film, I'm going to concur with that. I don't need to watch Jeremiah Love. I watched him at Notre Dame. I know what he is. I'm talking about all the rest of these guys. All right. Hey, Scotty. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy, Scotty writes, when is the next Commanders Kings episode? Tomorrow. Tomorrow night. Ovechkin fan. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, Louie, what a great signing at linebacker. In such a competitive sport, results are tough to guarantee, but I love the work the front office is doing. Let's go. That is such a far cry from what the vast majority of this fan base is saying. But I love what they've done to this point. I love what Adam Peters has done. I've said this and I've been adamant about this. The only thing that I am a little bit concerned about at this point is center. It's the only thing. And I probably shouldn't be very concerned about it, overly concerned about it, because if need be, you can spend the 3rd round pick on a center. Is it ideal to be starting a rookie center? No, but it wouldn't be the first time a rookie center has started in the league. And if the guy is really good, doesn't matter if he's a rookie. Doesn't matter. And you can find interior offensive linemen that can come in and start right away and play excellent football. And Daniel Jeremiah said that's the sweet spot for the center position in this draft, is right in that late 2nd into the 3rd. That range, late 2nd into the 3rd round, maybe early 4th, but really all the way through those compensatory picks in the 3rd round is where the sweet spot is for these centers. We're right in the heart of that at 71. So worst case scenario, you evaluate and you draft a center and you get them ready to rock and roll. You need a guy that's ready to go right out of the packaging. No assembly required, batteries included. Just open it up, turn the on switch on, put him under center, and let's go rock and roll. I love what they're doing as well. We just need more of it. Eric DeBose, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Eric writes, what up, Lou? What's up, Eric? With this Crosby news, maybe the Raiders have to nix the Linderbaum deal. So you're telling me there's a chance? No way in hell. They'll get rid of 2 other free agents that they signed before they get rid of Linderbaum. And again, with cap, you can do things to make the numbers dance. So they could, that first year, Linderbaum's cap number wasn't going to be significant anyway. So they're not going to be hurting. It won't be until next year when they start to feel it if they had to hold on to MAXX Crosby. They have plenty of cap space, did the Raiders. So Linderbaum is definitely going to remain a Raider. They would explore other options before they touched his deal. He's going to remain a Raider. He's not going anywhere. So no, not telling you there's a chance. Chilled guy. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. Chilled guy writes, hey Lou, what's up? We are ready for day 1 of free agency. Let's get it. Let's get it. We're waiting for all the posts of guys sitting down, signing their contracts with their name and a picture of them in the backdrop. We'll get a bunch of those tomorrow, more likely than not. And I think you're going to see a lot more movement for the Commanders. A Rashard White signing. You know, I don't think you get an Ayuk tomorrow. You might get Ayuk released tomorrow. I don't think he makes a beeline and signs that same day. But can we just get him released first? Can we just do that? And then we can start talking about that. I think you may get another cornerback signing. You could get another edge rusher signing, as we talked about tonight with K'Lavon Chaisson. You could get the tight end signing, Chika Okonkwo or someone of that ilk. They're far from done. Rashad White signing at running back. There's a lot to be done, and I think you start to see some of those things take place tomorrow. Chilled guy. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Same one we just read. Really, truly do appreciate you, chilled guy. Conquest 727. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, evening, Louie. What's going on, Conquest? What are your thoughts if we sign Trey Hendrickson for like a 3-year, $100 million deal? Absolutely not. We just did a $100 million deal for Odafe Owe. You're not turning around and giving another $100 million deal out at the same position. Again, for Trey Hendrickson at his current age, those are cocaine prices. No way, Jose. I'm going to be shocked if he gets $33.5 million a year, which is roughly what that amounts to. 33.3 roughly amounts to. I'd be shocked if he got, because he wants 30. He wants 30 a year. I can't see anybody giving him 30 a year. I can see him coming in at that same 3 years. Really, I think the number's 2. That might be the hang up why he hasn't signed yet. He wants 3. Somebody's trying to get him for 2. I could see that same 3 years for $81 million from somebody. Still, that's too much for us. We've already invested in the position with a younger option. But no, 3 years, $100 million when we already shelled out 4 years of hundo. We ain't got it. We ain't got it. We've not got it. GT7. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. My guy GT7 writes, Lou, Marathon Man. What up, though? Thank you for what you do for the fan base. If we don't get a cornerback in free agency, you think we might draft Mansour? I don't see that happening. Again, I don't see them investing anything more than they already have at the cornerback position in the draft as of right now because of who our defensive coordinator is. Could they invest a late round draft pick on a corner? Sure. Yeah, sure. A guy that's developmental. I talked about us having multiple 6-round picks. I think we have 2 of those. Would they throw a flyer out of the 6th-round corner? Sure. Absolutely. I feel like we need to do that, right? I feel like we need to find a developmental quarterback this year, even if he's undrafted. You know, I've seen the kid from Kansas, Jalen Daniels, right? No relation to Jaden Daniels. Jalen Daniels, the Kansas quarterback, he seems to be a bit interesting. Don't know if he'll get drafted or not. And you just see if there's somebody out there that you can grab that you can make into a developmental quarterback. Doesn't necessarily have to require you to draft him, but I think it's time for us to have a developmental corner on the roster. Some young guy that we didn't spend a high-level draft pick on. You just take a flyer on a 5th, 6th-round corner and hope he turns out to be pretty good down the road, right? Maybe in year 2 he starts to get real run. And you're like, oh, yeah, we spent that 6th-round pick on this dude, man. Let's see what he's talking about. Because what we've done the first 2 years under Adam Peters is we haven't taken a flyer on the late-round corner. We've just went undrafted, and it hasn't worked. You know, Chigozie Anuzium didn't work, right? We got all excited about him. The kid from Florida State, he didn't work out here as an undrafted. There was another dude that they had. I forgot where he went. He was a smaller corner. It was something like TCU or one of those schools. He didn't work. Let's see. I got these videos in my, let's see, undrafted. Let's see. So I'm going to tell you their names right now. It was Chigozie Anuzium, as I said. The kid from Pitt, that was the dude I was talking about. It was a corner from Pitt. It was Chigozie Anuzium, and it was a Florida State dude that we had. I don't know if he was with this group or the next year's group. I think it was last year's group that had another like that's the type of shit we've been on. I'm ready for us to draft a dude in the 5th round, the 6th round, and let's roll. I don't think Mansour is on our radar, to be honest with you, because you don't need that type of corner in this defense for it to thrive. So I think they're going to spend their resources elsewhere. I'm going to be honest with you. I really think they want Jeremiah Love. I don't think they're going to get him. And I think that the reason they haven't done anything at safety isn't because they believe the safeties we have are starting or are really good. I think they view Caleb Downs as the guy that's going to be the brains of the operation defensively on the back end. That's what I think personally. And so I think if Jeremiah Love isn't there, Caleb Downs is the pick. I think you get really specific on how you hunt the pieces of this defense. And to me, if you want to complete the cipher defensively, if they continue to do what they've done so far and they keep getting pieces, you want to complete the cipher defensively, you have to add a safety. What we have currently is not good enough. I think they're aware of that. I think they understand that. And so I think you're going to see him really become the apple of their eye as we get deeper into this draft process. That's just a hunch. I don't know anything. I can't say that, can't confirm nor deny that. I just think that's what's ultimately, that's why they've been super quiet on the safety front. Not because they love our safeties, but because they've got their eye on a guy that they know is going to make it to 7. Caleb Downs is going to make it to 7. They know that. So they have that in their back pocket. Now, if Jeremiah Love is there, I think you got to take Jeremiah Love. But if he's not, I think the fallback option is Caleb Downs, and you feel really good about it. Now you have that one piece in the second, because I've told you, you got to have the linebacker. They just went and got Leo Chenal, and you got to have the safety for this defense to work. And then the next big thing is the front. The front has to be in unison. They have to be able to create pressure. You got to be able to affect the quarterback. But the safety and the linebacker are key. You got them now. Now you got to go out and you got the linebacker. Now you got to go out and get the safety. So no, I don't think Mansour is on the radar. Could be wrong, but I don't think so. Stephen Dent, been a member for 16 months, who writes, "Don't shit on Fabo. That's my nephew, but I understand." Hey, look, man. Fab, once upon a time, was a very beloved family member. That time has come and gone. Once a family member, always a family member. I tell you that all the time. But not all family members are welcome back home. You know when I said that? When Fab wasn't back home. And if he comes knocking on the door, I'm going to have all the goddamn locks locked. Looking through the people. Who is it? Hey, it's Fab, man. What up? Hello? Hello? Hey, what's going on in there? We're going to treat him like that door not open. Tell your cousin I said, what up, though? Or tell your nephew I said, what up, though? Shout out to him. Mike H, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, all these reports of swings and misses, but not one report of swinging and missing on a running back or safety. Love/Downs. You said it. I just said it, but you said it. I think those are the two guys. We've been mum on safety. We've been mum at running back. I still think they're going to add a running back, though. Still think they're going to add Rashad White. Still think that's a thing. But Safety in particular. You can't, like, there's no way you can look us in the face as fans. I don't give a shit about fresh eyes, fresh eyes, fresh eyes, fresh eyes. I don't care nothing about fresh eyes. Ain't no way you gonna look us in our eyes with those fresh eyes, and get us to think, believe that we got starting safeties on this roster. Ain't no way in hell. You got no chance. That's what you got. You can't convince us that Quan Martin is a starting free safety in this league. Ain't no way. I'm with you, Mike. Abel Ambrosio. My God, Double A, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB who writes, Lou, your boy Hal went to Dallas. We already poured one out for him, man. But since you just brought it up again, we're going to pour one more out for the old boy. No.
New Hal order.
I feel like shit, what was Bernie Mac on I always ask y'all to say, I always forget his goddamn name. On Above the Rim. They can't change what we were. They can't change what we were, Sam. They can't change what we were. Sam Howell, after the first like 5 games of the 2022 season, was in the MVP conversation. They can't change what we were, Sam. They can't change what we were. They can't change what we were, man. Brew Cuts. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Brew Cuts writes, what do you think about Kenyon Sadiq on this offense? I would love it. We're not in the position to draft him at 7. He would be in the mix if you were to trade back. I would love to add Kenyon Sadiq to this offense. Are you kidding me? That's the type of shit I'm on, right? That's why I want Jeremiah Love. I want something elite that looks like that nobody else has. Nobody else in the league got a tight end running a sub 4.40. Nobody. 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 I would love to add one of those. So I would love it, but 7, a little too steep. A little too steep. But if they did it at 7, I would not lose a wink of sleep. I would be over here. I probably would be cheesing ear to ear, right? People would try to sell me on it's an overdraft. It's this. I got somebody that can block. And he's not a terrible blocker, but he ain't Jordan Reed in this bitch where he just don't block. Don't ask him to block. He can't block a goddamn soul. He ain't Jordan Reed. He can block. But I got somebody for that. You need somebody block. Hey, JB, man, block his ass, man. I got dudes for that, man. You need blocking. Hey, Senate. Hey, Ben. Hey, man, block him, man. We need somebody to go catch that bitch and actually do something with it. Stretch this defense out. I would love it. Even if they did it at 7, I wouldn't be mad. I wouldn't be glad, but I wouldn't be mad because the upside and what you would be adding to this offense, it's crazy. There are options for the Commanders at 7. I wouldn't rule out Kenyon Sadiq either. I wouldn't rule him out either at 7. Even though it feels like you would be more suited to trade back and draft him, I don't see the Commanders trading out at 7. So we'll see. We'll see. I would love to see him on this offense, though. Chilled Guy. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Chilled Guy. I don't know if I did this already, but double up. Thank you for doubling up. Who writes, Lou, we still have Dorrance Armstrong. Nice depth. Yeah, but he coming off that injury. So, don't really know what Dorrance is going to look like. But, yeah, we got depth up front. We got what we need up front. You can never go wrong adding more, though. Andre Bug, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBBSQUAD writes. Been gone a while. I'm back now. Playoffs this season. We'll see. We'll see. Got a lot of work to do first before we can start using the P word. Can't start throwing that around. Too early for that. But I like the direction that this offseason is heading. I do like that. Christopher McLaughlin, been a member for 39 months. Salute to my guy, C-Mac, who writes, hey, Lou. What's up, Chris? Hope all is well with you and the fam. Likewise. 2 questions. 1, with Peters getting Sam, linebacker, and edge, how far do you want them to trade back in the draft to get a second-round pick? I don't want them to go too far back because I don't want them to miss out on anything elite. I've already said that the furthest back I would probably be willing to go is maybe 4 or 5 picks max. Because theoretically, you move back too far, and all of the guys that you think have blue chip talent, the Kenyon Sadiqs, the Caleb Downs, you know, a Reuben Bain, if he were to fall, you could mess around, and all of those guys are gone off the board by the time you pick if you go too far back. So I think 3, maybe 4 picks max. Because the Saints feel like a destination for a wide receiver. Them drafting Noah Fant, giving him 2 years, $7 million is not stopping them from drafting Kenyon Sadiq if they so choose. So the Chiefs, them signing Alohi Gilman isn't going to stop them from drafting Caleb Downs. So you don't want to move back too far. You don't want to move back too far if you were to do that. I would love a second-round pick, but we made our bed, and I'm prepared to lay in it. I'm prepared to lay in it to get a blue-chip player. I don't need to move back to pick up a second-round pick and end up with 2 solid players and not have an elite player. I'd rather have a Pro Bowl. I'd rather have a Pro Bowl, damn near all-pro, or an all-pro than 2 really solid players that never make a Pro Bowl, if that makes sense. Give me the guy with the upside, the tremendous upside. That's what I'm after. 2, who do you see as the Z position? I'm going to assume it's Brandon Ayuk until otherwise notified. That's who I see our Z as. Terry is your X. He's the Z. And we ride, right? The real question is, who's your slot? Who's your slot? But that I can't say. They told us last year they envisioned Jalen Lane turning into the slot receiver here. Maybe it's him. Maybe it's Luke. Don't know. We'll see. Jammed Out. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Jammed Out writes, as you say, he did it again. Shout out to AP. Always punctual. Right? Hey, look. He's not always there when you call, but he's always on time. AP stands for always punctual, a.k.a. Adam effing Peters. He was right on time yesterday with Adafe Owe. He was right on time today with Leo Chenal, because if it didn't happen, boy, oh boy. I told you earlier, somebody said that this single-handedly stopped Commanders fans from eating one another. They were so upset and angry. Now get me Ayuk and Chig, and I like where we're heading going into the draft. I second that. And I would just throw in there, add Rashad White, and another speed receiver, and I'm ready. Put me in, coach. I'm ready to play today. So, but if nothing else, get me Ayuk and Chig, and let's go hoop. Let's go hoop. DJ, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. DJ writes, surprised Thornton went back to the way they played with him when Rice and Brown came back. Also, damn, AP, we couldn't give Reek 15 just to shore up the backs. I was shocked that Thornton went back there too, because they basically told him, all right, bro, we love the shit you did for us when everybody was out. When Rice was out with the suspension, when Brown was out with the injury, you stepped up, did a lot of shit for us, but now you got to take your ass back to the bench. And they threw his ass under the bench. I thought he was going to try to get out of there, but clearly they appreciated his ability to get deep. I told you, if Mahomes could actually throw the deep ball, that man would have had 500, 600, 700 yards receiving last year because he was cooking DBs. So they probably recognized it and said, hey, Pat, you going to have to start hitting this dude when he get open. You can't keep missing him because he getting behind defenses. So while I am surprised, I'm not surprised. Because remember, Tyquan Thornton was a former second-round pick, and the league basically gave up on him. And the Chiefs were the ones that salvaged him. They took him out of the junkyard and shined him up and reminded him that, hey, you can play in this league. And so there's a little bit of loyalty there. And then they threw a little money at him, and he was like, bet, I'll just stay here. They didn't want Reek. They didn't want him. I told my wife, because I told my wife the Eagles got Reek, and she was like, man, I said, babe, they didn't want him. They could have got him for $15 million. 1 year, 50. That's a prove it deal. They wanted to test the Reek Woolen waters. They could have done that. They didn't want him. They didn't want him. They didn't want him. Timothy Swindell, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy, Tim, writes, I apologize for my outburst. We a little cool, AP. You can't keep doing this, man. You can't keep doing this, Timothy. You can't keep wilding on him, then be styling on him after he do something. You can't be wilding on him and then start styling on him after he do something. It's all love, though. I told you he still loved you earlier. Nothing has changed. Patience, grasshopper. Patience. Patience. Commander Hove. Oh, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, with the Chenal signing, does this mean we're out on Styles? With Crosby trade being rescinded, does that mean the asking price changes? It could change. The Raiders had a hard stance. And look, the Raiders were probably prepared to take the 1 and 2 from Dallas. They wanted 2 1s. That was the price. But if no one was willing to pay it, the next best thing would be the 1 and 2 from Dallas. And they were prepared to take that. So I would think now with this new information, being that he failed the physical, they are definitely listening, but they know that the price has absolutely changed. Is he still Max Crosby? And everybody's team doctors are not the same. How many times have we heard going into a draft that 15 teams, or, there are some teams that have taken this guy off their board because of the medical? Everybody's medical staff doesn't see the same x-rays, the same imaging, the same way. 7 teams might be like, hey, this shit is not clean at all. He could have more issues with this. I don't think you should even have this guy on your board. The rest of the league might be like, nah, he good, bro. He's straight. He'll be all right. So the price could change. It doesn't have to. All it takes is one team saying, should I do it? Feel like the Ravens were the only team offering 2 1s, though. Feels like they were the only ones. So I would doubt that now, after every team in the league has had a chance to dip their toe into free agency, that they're going to get more than 2 1s now. But that's why I worry about a team like Philadelphia. They might try to come calling now because while everybody was out here spending all this money and doing all this stuff, Philadelphia was just sitting back. And now they still got all their resources. They still got all the power they need to make a move. I'm hoping that they don't get to strike because Dallas is out of the way. No, us going with Leo Chenal does not get us out of the Sonny Styles business. It absolutely does not. Are you sold on Jordan McGee? You sold on him? Enough to pass on Sonny Styles? Nah, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Jordan McGee was a 5th round pick. 5th round pick, 6th round pick. He don't have to start. We would like him to. And he don't have to. For as much as we love Jordan McGee, he ain't Sonny Styles. That's for damn sure. So no, it doesn't mean we're out. It just means we don't have to with Sonny Styles. That's what I said. You just want to put yourself in a position where you don't have to do anything. You do what you want to do, not what you have to do. Like, if we don't do anything at center, you forced yourself to have to draft a center in the 3rd round. I don't want to be in a position where I have to do anything. Unless they're comfortable with Nick Allegretti starting at center, none of us want to see that shit. But they might be totally cool with Nick Allegretti starting at center and calling up, "Thank you for making me right, Jaden," and bringing his ass back and making him the backup. They might be cool doing that shit. None of us would love it. But they might be like, "Hey, this is what we got to do." Thought we were going to get Linderbaum. It ain't work out. That's why we signed Allegretti to that 2-year deal. We were prepared that if Linderbaum didn't work out, we had a backup plan in Nick Allegretti. I'm not saying, I'm just saying. James LaRue, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. James writes, just tuned in. Going to catch it on playback. Just wanted to check in and say, love the signing. And also did get some valuable rest, Lou. Laughing my ass off. I'm so glad to hear that. So glad to hear that, bro. The most important thing is, as I've gotten older in life, I used to be one of these people, you know, sleep is the cousin of death. I can sleep when I'm dead. This, that, and the third. Bullshit. Okay? Let me be the first to tell you, sleep is one of the most important things you can do. It's one of the most important things your body needs. If you find yourself getting sick very often, it's because you're probably not getting enough sleep. Sleep is when your body restores itself. Look at it like a phone charging, right? You use your body all day long when you're up. You're active, you're doing things. Sleep is how you plug your body into the charger. What happens to your phone when you don't charge it up and you just keep using it? Eventually the battery dies. Same thing happens to your body when you don't get sleep. Why do you think sleep deprivation is a tactic that people use to torture? Because you need sleep. So please do not ignore sleep, people. Trust me. Take it from me. Sleep, very important. You want to look younger? Get rest. You want to live longer? Get rest. Glad you got some rest, man. Glad you got some rest. MC Saba, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, I've been busy with travel, but did we get a tight end yet? No. We have not. But I think we still have a chance. So you're telling me there's a chance. I think we still have a chance. Don't get your hopes up. But you're telling me there's a chance. Yes, I am. Yes, I am. Didn't get one yet, though. Miggy, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Miggy writes, sup, Lou? Sup, Miggy? The Miggity back. Bow, bow. Say Love, Styles, Bailey, and Reese are gone. Very plausible that takes place. I like trading back for Sadiq. Who you got, Downs or Sadiq? Okay, so who I got and who they got might be two different things. I would take Sadiq because I want the athletic freak. You know what I mean? I can't help myself. I want me an athletic freak. I can't help myself. I want an athletic freak. I can't help myself. So as much as I would say, do the responsible thing and take Caleb Downs. That's the quarterback of the defense. That's the guy you need to make this Durante Jones defense go. You got Leo Chenal. Go get the safety. 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 But my head, man, my head is like, bro, the safety is the thing you need to get. But my heart is like, bro, go get the athletic freak. Go get the guy that don't nobody else in the league got. If all things are created equal, I'm always going to side with the athletic freak. So if it's Jeremiah Love and somebody else, give me Jeremiah Love. If it's Kenyon Sadiq and somebody else, give me Kenyon Sadiq. Obviously, if we're comparing Kenyon Sadiq with somebody, it's not of the David Bailey, Arvell Reese ilk, right? It's somebody like Caleb Downs or Ruben Bain. That's where you're going to be in that territory. You're not going to be talking about, or Sonny Styles even, right? And he's another freak. So I would be like, cool, take him too, right? Really, you want one of those guys. Really, you want, I wish we had 2 first-round picks so you can get both of them. But obviously, it doesn't work that way. You only get one player, and they're going to have a great decision to make. They're going to have a great decision. I think we're in a great spot. Even though I hate that we beat the Eagles in Week 18, 7 is not a bad spot. It really, truly isn't. They could do whatever they like. Yeah. And you really can't go wrong. You could take Caleb Downs. I don't think you would have a lot of people that would be upset unless, Jeremiah Love was available. Then I think you'd have a lot of people disappointed. But you still can't be mad at the Caleb Down pick, even if you did that. You could take Jeremiah Love. I think a lot of us would be ecstatic if they did that. You could take Kenyon Sadiq at 7, and I don't think you would have a lot of people pissed off. You might be like, that's too early. I already tell you, anybody that tries to convince you that you reached on a player is doing the draft thing, and that's cool to do in the moment, right? That's cool to do in the moment. Because we all have reactions, overreactions, draft grades. Oh, you don't know who was going to take. The Saints could have been taking Kenyon Sadiq the very next pick. You don't know what the hell somebody else was going to do. I always say, get your player when you feel the need to get your guy. Get your guy when you feel the need to get your guy. You're going to hear that from me a million times during this draft process because I say it every year because I really mean it. Oh, no, baby. I really mean it. When I say, get your guy when you feel the need to get your guy. Don't let nobody else encourage you that, oh, that's too early for such and such. It was too early for Luke McCaffrey, but they felt the need to get their guy, so they did. You don't got to love it, but that was their decision. If they draft Kenyon Sadiq, I wouldn't be mad at 7. I wouldn't be mad at all. But we will see what they decide to do. A lot of time between now and then, but I'd take Sadiq. But the proper thing to do would probably be to draft Caleb Downs. Nobody wants to see Jartavius Martin starting for this team at safety. That's the responsible thing to do. James LaRue, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. I think I should have done this already. Double up. Thank you for doubling it up. Jiggity James. LaRue. Dane Jackson from Oregon. I'm interested in day 3. I can't even get that deep with you right now, dog. I can't even get that deep with you. I got all, let me see. I think I know what position he plays, but I ain't even gonna hold you. But I watched the combine, so let me see if I can track him down. Nope. Nope. All right, let's keep it pushing. I'm gonna find this guy. See, Dane Jackson. Nope. Dane Jackson. Nope. Dane Jackson. Nope. Nope. Dane Jackson. Okay, guess he wasn't at the combine. You said day 3, so might not have been invited to the combine. I don't know who that is. I ain't even gonna hold you. But if you're interested, maybe I'm interested. Metaphor, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Metaphor, thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, Lou, Meta, trade back with Cincy at 10, get more picks. They need defense. 8 or 9 already got running backs in free agency, still get love. They got to want to move up, of course. That's a dangerous proposition because you act as if we're the only ones that can trade back and other teams can't trade up. You move back and all of a sudden a team gets antsy and says, my God, Jeremiah Love is falling into our wheelhouse. We should go up in front of Washington at 10. We should go in front of Kansas City at 9 or whatever, let's just go up and go get him. He's falling. Let's go get him. That's the kind of guy you trade up to go get, by the way. You don't want to get too cute. When it comes to the draft, you don't want to get too cute. This ain't a game, right? You don't get to do it over again. This ain't like a mock draft where if you don't like how the outcome is, you get to restart it and do the shit over again so the outcome is favorable to what you want it to be. You get cute, you start moving back, and you end up not getting the guy that you wanted to draft. So moving back to 10 at Cincinnati, if you're lucky enough, because right now I don't see Jeremiah Love getting to 7. I don't see him getting past the Titans at 4. I've been adamant. I'm not moving off that spot. The Titans didn't do anything at running back in free agency for a reason because they have every intention of drafting him at 4. If you get lucky enough that the Titans decide to go defense and bypass, because any hope that the Titans might go with, a defensive lineman, that's dashed. They went out and got John Franklin Myers and all the defensive linemen they could get in the draft, right? They already got an edge rusher from the Jets in a trade. They don't need any defenders. They went out and got 2 corners, not 1, 2 corners. They made sure they don't need a damn thing on defense right now. Don't need nothing. Not at 4. Could they use an offensive lineman to protect their quarterback? Sure, but they've drafted first-round offensive linemen multiple times already. They ain't looking to do that either. They just gave Wan'Dale Robinson damn near number 1 money. Still got Calvin Ridley. They may cut him. They may hold on to him. We'll see what they decide to do with him. But they got a bunch of guys at receiver. They can draft another one to add to the mix, but they just gave Wan'Dale Robinson pretty good money. Could they add a receiver? Sure. But it don't feel like that's what they're going to do. It feels like they're going to take a running back. So if you're lucky enough that somehow, some way, Jeremiah Love makes it up out the top 5 and 2-7, you can't trade back. You can't tempt fate. You got to take him. You got to take him. Just because the teams behind us already took a running back doesn't mean somebody else won't leapfrog us and come get this running back. The only way you trade back in that scenario at 7, if Jeremiah Love is there, is if you love 3 guys and you don't care. All 3 of them, you love them equally and you don't care which one you get. You love Jeremiah Love, you love Ruben Bain, and you love Downs, Caleb Downs, and all three of them are still available at 7, which is possible. Highly unlikely, but it's possible that could happen. Then you can trade back to 10 because one of those 3 guys is going to be there. More likely than not. I can't say that because if you trade this, you would know, right? Because you're trading back to 10 and you're going to ask Cincinnati who you coming up to get. And if they're taking one of the guys that's on that list of 3, Kansas City and New Orleans could take one of those, the other 2, and you won't get any of them. So you would have to know Cincinnati's coming up for this, and you don't have to worry, right? But I digress. James LaRue, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy James writes, they saying Fab can't come home. When he heard that, Lou, when he was back home. You got me saying that a lot now. Well, he can't come back home, though. I said, you know, when I heard that, when he was trying to come back home, but the door shut. You keep on knocking, but you can't come in. But yeah, you know when he heard that? When he was back home. He better not be back home, or we got a problem. We got a big effing problem. All right. James LaRue, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you, Dave, for being a member of the MOBB. James writes, Harris and Martin are 2 cheeks of the same ass. Hey, I don't have a problem with Will Harris. They signed him to be a backup, honestly. They gave him the starting job, but 2 years, $7 million is backup money, which is what he is in this league. So I can't be mad at Will Harris. Quan Martin is the one that you know, and I try not to get too upset at Jartavis. I try not to get too upset because he didn't make us draft him in the 2nd round. The other guys that were here previous did that. If Jartavis was a 4th round pick, we wouldn't be having these discussions about him. So, yeah, that's funny though. Antisocial Sully. Thank you for being a member for 28 months. Feels like it's been a while, Antisocial Sully. Not going to lie, kind of nervous about the lack of offensive ads. Those are coming. Those are coming. As a matter of fact, the only offensive ad they've had thus far is bringing back Marcus Mariota, right? They extended Laramie, but he was already on the roster. They brought back Marcus Mariota during the tampering period. I mean, they brought back other guys, but like Andrew Wiley, but they haven't added any skill position players. That's gonna come. They're gonna add a running back. They're gonna add Brandon Ayuk. They're gonna maybe even add another receiver. I think they should. They could add a tight end. So they may have to add another center. They may not, but we'll see what they decide to do. But don't be nervous. Not yet. Don't be nervous. Not yet. Not yet. We go a little bit further, deeper into the free agency period, and nothing's been done. Then and only then you should get nervous. I don't think you should be nervous yet. DJ, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Who writes, Lou, stop with that fresh eyes shit. It's triggering sounds like position flex. AP and DQ know that this secondary is cheeks. LOL. I'm just telling y'all. DQ told us fresh eyes. I'm telling you, DQ told us Durante was coming in with fresh eyes. Fresh eyes might lead to Quan Martin, not Jartavis, because if Quan's starting again, he's back to being Quan again. It might be Jartavis, Martin, and Will Harris Act 2. Fresh eyes might lead to that. I'm not saying. I'm just saying. God help us all if it does. God help us all if it does. I'm feeling more and more as the days pass with them doing nothing at safety, which I kind of knew they weren't going to do anything. It's kind of leading me to believe that right now they're the leader in their clubhouse is Caleb Downs. That's what it's leading me to believe. But I mean, it could be precious. And it could be nothing. It could be Jeremiah Love. It could be Ruben Bain. It could be Sonny Styles. It could be anybody but Caleb Downs. So we'll see. We'll see. VGK. Thank you for being a member for 14 months. Really, truly do appreciate you. Commander Ho. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Commander Hove writes, Lou, Thursday's my 40th C day. Can I get a shout out? Hashtag HTTC. And happy 40th, my guy. What a beautiful age, man. What a beautiful age it is. Whew. You know what's funny? I had a couple of friends hit 40 recently. You know, that's where I'm about to hit. I make fun of everybody that hits 40 because I'm not 40 yet. So y'all old as hell. But I kid, right? You get to age 40 and it feels like everybody starts to get super introspective, starts looking at life differently. And I'm just like, whoa. Why so heavy all of a sudden? You know? But 40 hits and people start thinking about shit differently. So I don't know. Maybe that won't happen to you. Maybe it will. But congrats, my friend. Congrats, my guy. And hopefully you'll be back. I'll be here on Thursday, more likely than not. So hopefully we cross paths again and I can give you another shout out. But man, everybody in the chat, show them some love right now. 40th coming up on Thursday. All love, Commander Ho. Really appreciate you. And hopefully you do it up this weekend, man. Enjoy the day. Enjoy the day. You only do it once. You don't win 365 40 times, bro. You only do it once, though. So, a big 4-0, man. Congrats. Wrath of God. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. My guy, Wrath of God, writes, bro, they say Dubs picked the Patriots because he wanted a Super Bowl contender. I think he made the wrong decision. Terry, Ayuk, and Dubs would have been nasty. I mean, he could say that. He won a Super Bowl. They went to the Super Bowl last year. People were saying that about us just last year. If this were last year, he would have picked us instead of New England. They're the hot team right now, but don't let that fool you. That's the right thing to say. He took that Patriots job and that offer from New England. One, it was good money. Two, he's going to be their number one target. He gets to be the guy. Don't get it twisted, man. Because you think about it from this perspective. What gives you the highest earning potential? You go to Washington, you're catching 47 to 57 balls a year for 722 yards and 6 touchdowns, which is really good numbers, right? Let's say he's doing that. You know, so 47 catches for 588 yards and 4 touchdowns. That's his average here over 3 years. That's cool. That's really good. But that ain't averaging 71 catches for 1,082 yards and 7 touchdowns, which is what he can do in New England when he's getting the lion's share of the targets, whereas he'd be the third option here in Washington, at least his first year or two, depending on what happens with Terry and Brandon Ayuk moving forward. I mean, it's a no-brainer. That next contract that he might be after, You go to them with those numbers, you're going to get a little bit more. If you go to them with the numbers that you might get here based off of being the third option, again, these are all things you got to consider. I don't think Romeo Dubs is that old. He's 25 years old. All right, he's 25.8. He won't be 30 years old after this contract expires. He'll be looking for another deal. And your best path to having that happen, more likely than not, is to go somewhere where you're going to get targeted. So, yeah, you can hit us with the Super Bowl contender spiel, and that's the right way to phrase it. Who's gonna question that? I want to go where to a Super Bowl contender. They were in the Super Bowl last year. Who's gonna argue with you on that? He's gonna be the number one option there. That to me makes way more sense. The money was good too. Don't get me wrong, but that makes way more sense than remember that dumb shit DeMarcus Lawrence said? I mean, he won the Super Bowl. Shout out to him. But that dumb shit, the Commanders were in the NFC Championship last year. They don't need me. What kind of stupid shit is that? The money wasn't. You know what I'm saying? The money wasn't what he wanted it to be here. Years, money, one of the two wasn't. The math won't math for him. They don't need me. They was in the NFC Championship game last year. What kind of dumb shit is that? James LaRue, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy James writes, my fault, Lou. I was tripping. Jaden Kennedy. All right. Kennedy. Let's see what he is. Not one of those. Not one of those. Okay, he's a defensive back. Got you. All right. Day 3 out of Oregon. Got you. Okay. Noted. All right. That was the last super chat. So that will conclude tonight's show. I will be back tomorrow, and we will get into the new league year. We'll celebrate. Happy New Year, and we'll have a great time. And I think we'll see a lot of activity tomorrow. Today was a dud, but Adam Peters once again comes in the clutch, saves the day, and stops a mass riot within the fan base by signing linebacker Leo Chenal to a 3-year, $24.75 million deal. We get a really, really good defender and a guy that is young, athletic, and exactly what we need on this football team as we continue to deconstruct and then reconstruct this defense. We stripped it down to its bare essentials, and now we're building it back up. And hopefully he's going to be part of the foundation of this moving forward. So, big move, another one, and another one for Adam Peters. He's not done. He's just getting started. He's only just begun to add talent to this roster. So, shout out to Adam Peters, man. Keep cooking up crack, bruh. Keep cooking it up in the kitchen, man. Anyway, that's going to do it for me, your man, Louie T. I'll be back to help bring in the new league year tomorrow. Looking forward to chopping it up with you guys, and hoping that we'll have some more Commanders news tomorrow. So, till then, I'm your man, Louie T, signing off. The Commandalorian, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Commandalorian writes, one damn signing. Yeah, one. How many signings the Rams have today? How many signings did the Raiders have today? How many signings did the Titans have today? How many signings did the Panthers? Like, what are we talking about? One damn signing, and it was a good one. How about that? Why is the glass always half empty with you guys? Why can't it just be half full? Instead of one damn signing, why can't it be, man, that was one damn good signing? Anyway, I digress. See you guys tomorrow. Adam Peters continuing to add to what I think has been a strong offseason. Let's see what happens tomorrow. God bless. Good night.